Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about being a straight passing lesbian, because if you're anything like me, you get mistaken for straight all the time, and I just kind of want to discuss the experiences that I've had looking and dressing the way that I do, yet identifying sexually in the way that I do. So let's get into that. Now, first of all, I'd like to say that obviously there are no set ways that you have to dress if you identify as a lesbian or gay or anything else. There is no certain way that you should be dressing. You dress however you want to dress, you know? Your clothing is not inherently tied to your sexuality. But I will say that we as a society have, I guess, stereotypes and our own mental ideas of what people who identify as a lesbian look like. And because of that, I don't fit into that stereotype of a lesbian. So a lot of people don't even understand that I'm a lesbian, and these are people who I've never met in my life. They obviously straight off the bat think I am straight. Now, of course, you can put this on them never knowing me and they don't want to put any assumptions on me, but I think from a general standpoint, if I looked very masculine and I presented a bit more tomboyish and a bit like a masked lesbian, I don't think people would be questioning or figuring out my sexuality as much as they might do now, looking the way that I do now. And so that's what I want to talk about. Touching on this point of people not really knowing what my sexuality is when they first meet me, I feel like because I'm straight passing, I feel the need to overcompensate a lot. So when I meet people for the first time, I feel this need to like exaggerate. So I will say to them that, you know, well, first, before I say anything sexuality wise, I always try and like test the waters. So if they ask me if I'm seeing anybody or if I have like a, you know, they always say like, are you seeing anyone? Are you going on dates, or do you have anyone in your life? And to that I always try and say, no, I don't have anyone just yet, but you know, hopefully the right one will just like come into my life wherever she is. So I try to add these little subtle, they're hints, they're like little subtle hints that I throw in the conversation to make this person in front of me understand that they are not talking to a straight person. And I do this to sort of test the waters, because being straight passing, I have this privilege to kind of test the waters of the people in front of me to see how they would react to me as a lesbian. Because of course, I'm a firm believer in not having to come out if you do not feel safe. And this goes for coming out to your parents, coming out to friends, whoever. If there is someone in your life who you think makes you feel kind of unsafe with the topic of sexuality and you feel like they may be homophobic or anything like that, I am a firm believer and you don't have to come out to them. Not coming out to certain people doesn't diminish your identity. It doesn't make your sexuality any less. You are still going to be gay or lesbian regardless of if you come out to everyone or not. So because of that, I, being straight passing, have this great privilege to test the waters of whoever I'm talking to, so I can kind of see what their viewpoints are. It's almost like being a bit of an undercover agent, where I can sort of just slide a comment here and there about the fact that I'm gay or about the fact that I like women or anything like that. And it gives me a chance to see how the person in front will react. Now, luckily, I'm very grateful I have not encountered anybody who is downright against lesbians or against the LGBT community. It is not something I personally have encountered, and I consider myself to be super grateful for that because of where I live. Living here in Australia, I feel like a lot of people here are very open-minded, and it's not really a situation where I have to constantly explain myself. Of course, when people find out for the first time that I'm a lesbian, they might have questions, but I wouldn't say those questions come from a place of negativity. The questions are genuinely like, I'm curious, and I'm more than happy to answer those kind of questions. So yeah, but that being, circling back to my original point, I definitely think being straight passing is a huge blessing in disguise, because I can not come out to people and people won't do anything against me, if that makes sense. I can travel to places, like obviously there are places in the world where the LGBT community is not very well received, and you know, obviously people there who are from those countries who are part of the LGBT community, they feel really unsafe, and a lot of times they flee the countries because they don't want to get killed or harmed or anything like that. And that is very scary, but it is a very sad reality of the world that we live in. I hate to say it, but there is a privilege involved in looking the way I do when it comes to traveling, because I know unless I'm traveling with my future girlfriend slash future wife, and even then, depending on how she looks, we could easily just pass off as best friends, and you know, maybe we wouldn't get into too many issues. But if I'm traveling by myself, or if I'm traveling with my family, I know I'm not going to run into anything like that. I can pretty much enter any country traveling and no one is going to question my sexuality, you know, or make me feel unsafe in any kind of way, because I have this very feminine, straight demeanor on the outside, so no one is going to question that. And that is something I would say it's a great privilege, because not everyone can experience that, and that is very unfortunate. Yeah, I would say that's a huge privilege, and I would describe that as a privilege because not everyone has that. Now, all the other points that I have, they're obviously not as extreme as the point I just mentioned, but I'm gonna mention it anyways because they are points that I had. So yeah, while on one hand I feel like I can be a bit of an undercover agent with straight people and sort of test the waters to see what they're like before fully committing to my truth and telling them that I'm a lesbian, I can do that. But on the other hand, I struggle all the time with trying to look more gay, because when I'm out and about, especially if I'm out and about in an area where I know there could be young people, and young people could equal young people from the LGBT community, which could mean young lesbians, and every time I'm in a situation like that, I feel such pressure. I'm like, oh my god, do I look gay enough? Do you think if I'm walking down the street someone would see me and be like, she's gay? And the answer, I think, would be no. I don't think I look gay enough. So I'm in this constant, like, I don't want to give up my style and my fashion because that's what I like and that's what I'm comfortable with, but at the same time I feel like I want to meet someone in almost like an organic way, like meet cutes. Like, I want to have a meet cute so badly, but I think because of the way that I look and because I'm so straight passing, no lesbian is ever gonna approach me out in the wild, because they'd be too busy sussing out if I'm gay or straight, and then maybe the opportunity will just leave. And so I have already established that I think I will meet someone online. Like, that is pretty much my only scope, because I doubt a meet cute is written in my future. I want it to be written in my future. Like, you know, I read my Wattpad stories, and so a part of me wants it to be written in my future. That I am at a bookshop or something carrying a load of books, and then I bump into this really cute girl and she's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. She helps me pick up the books and make eye contact, and then it's like, oh, would you like to go for a coffee? I'm so sorry, like, I owe you one. I should buy you a coffee. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we can go for a coffee. And then, you know, you start dating, one thing leads to another, and then you're married and you have a fantastic life with like a cat and a dog, and you live in an amazing house, and then you die together. But I don't think that's gonna happen. And I do sometimes think that if I dressed a bit more masculine, maybe that could happen. You know, maybe someone could come up to me and talk to me, but at the same time, I wouldn't be true to myself if I'm dressing more masculine, because I personally, I don't look at masculine clothing as an idea for myself and be like, yes, I love it. I love it on other people. On other people, masculine clothing is so attractive. Like lesbians who wear masculine, tomboyish kind of clothing. But you know, that kind of girl, oh, that's so hot on other people. I think about it just because of the possibility of having a meet cute, but it's all right, it's cool. But yes, in the whole attempt to look gayer, I do a lot of things which I think should be obvious to people that I'm gay, but at the same time maybe it's not, in the sense of keeping my nails short, having a nose piercing, which I don't know how it became a symbol of, oh, if you're gay you have a nose piercing or like a septum. I don't like the idea of a septum on me. I think it would look terrible on me personally, but I do love a nose like ring. Love it. I think it's just elevated my face like tenfold from before when I had it to versus now. I feel like I look so much nicer with a nose ring, and every time I take it out I feel like I look naked. So yeah, you could say the nose ring is a thing that makes me look a little bit gayer, but at the same time I'm also Indian, and nose rings are very common in my culture, like very common. Piercings in general, like multiple ear piercings. My mum herself, she used to have 7 piercings in one ear, but then 2 of them closed up, so now she has 5 in one ear. I used to have 2, but I let one close up. But when it comes to the nose piercing, I feel like that could also be chalked down to me being Indian. It's very common in Indian culture, and I don't think that's an inherently she's gay pointer. But I always think that the short nails should be one. I also, you know, out and about in public, I try, if I find like a girl that I think is cute, I do try to do the, you know, the look. I try to do the look. But if I see that she's with another girl, I do not do the look. Don't worry. If you have a girlfriend, I'm not doing the look at you. If I see you and you look kind of gay and you're standing next to a girl, I don't care if that's your sister, your cousin, or whatever. See, I'm looking the other way because I'm not interested in that kind of drama. But for the most part, I try to, like, you know, look at girls who I think are cute, and then... Okay, so if I'm being honest, I say that I'm looking at girls from time to time, but honestly, girls kind of scare me. So if I see one that I find attractive in the wild, in the outside world, I will maybe try to look at them and maybe try to get an eye contact thing going. But honestly, a lot of times I'm too scared, and a lot of times I'll find the attractive girl, I'll be like, oh my god, she's so cute, or she's so attractive, and then move on as if nothing happened. And that is partially my fault. Maybe I should, you know, give her a little smile and, you know, hold the eye contact if she looks at me, rather than breaking away and completely panicking. But, you know, maybe one day. I don't think I've matured to that level of anything right now. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated in the future if that ever happens. Cool. And at this point, my mum was like, maybe you should just buy more rainbow things so then people know you're gay. And I said, I can't be a walking, talking pride flag constantly. That's a little bit crazy. Like, I don't want to have rainbow flag pins on my bags and jackets and paint my nails a rainbow color and wear like a jacket with a rainbow pin on. Oh, it's so tiring. It's so tiring. I just feel like people should know. They should just know. And the fact that they don't know, it's very annoying. See, I do say that people don't understand, don't think of me as a lesbian, and that is annoying. I do say that. But at the same time, there have been instances where I have said, oh, someone might ask me like, oh, what kind of boys do you like, or do you have a boyfriend? And I'd be like, oh, no, I don't like men. I want a girlfriend. And then people would be like, yeah, you do look gay. You do look like a lesbian. And I would be like, really? Like, it used to get me so excited. And it's still to the point where I've heard it before in a few times in my life. And every single time it gets me really hyped because I'm like, so you can tell. So I'm doing something right. Nice. You know? Like, nice. But maybe it's, I don't know. Because there have been times where I've said to someone that, you know, oh, I struggle with, you know, looking like a straight girl when really I'm not straight. And people have responded back to me being like, oh yeah, I could have guessed you weren't straight. You could have guessed that I wasn't straight. It's so exciting. It's so exciting when you find that out, because you know that something about your vibe is different. And I can relate to that because I have seen a lot of people out and about, even dudes, who I'm like, I think you're gay. Maybe you don't even know it yet. Maybe you haven't come out to yourself yet, but I think that you're gay. Like the clinic that I work at, there is this one patient who I'm always, every time I see her, I'm like, I think she's gay. But I think she's at that point where she hasn't, even come out to herself yet. So forget coming out to people around her, she needs to come out to herself. But somewhere in my bones, every time I see her, I'm like, I think you're gay. I think you're a lesbian. I'm not gonna tell her that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine just being like, hey, how are you? How often do you brush your teeth? Are you a lesbian? Yeah, no, that's not exactly how it goes. But yes, I can see the vibe that people talk about because I have seen it in other people, but I get so excited when people see it in me because I'm like, oh, thank God, it's working. It's working. Now eventually this vibe will be so strong that it will attract other lesbians without me having to say anything. Another point I'd like to make is being a straight passing lesbian, that adds an element of male attention whether you like it or not. Because when you dress feminine and you're a young girl, you're gonna get some male attention, unfortunately. Now, prior to coming out, I feel like I was always oblivious to men. I always used to, you know, if guys were looking at me, I would never notice. And people would have to tell me, oh, like, he's totally checking you out. And I'd be like, oh, okay. But for the most part, I would never have understood. And I would be like, okay, cool, okay, cool. In fact, it used to make me a bit uncomfortable. That's a sign that maybe you're not straight. If the idea of a guy checking you out makes you kind of uncomfortable. I was already super oblivious to guys. Then you add, like, this was like pre-coming out, but then post-coming out, I'm still extra super duper completely oblivious to guys. Guys could be around me and I'll talk to them like I would talk to a friend, and I would later find out that he was flirting with me. And how would I find out? Because whoever I was with would say to me, that guy was totally flirting with you. And I'd be like, oh, okay. Okay, that's cool. It's very odd because I remember always being oblivious to men, and it's not like I've become hyper aware of them now. I am just extra oblivious now. I think because I know that I'm definitely not interested. Otherwise, prior to coming out, I used to be confused. I'm like, am I interested in him? Do I like him? Do I have a crush on him? What is it? Do I have a crush on him because the other girls say he's hot? Or do I... It used to be very confusing. But now that I've figured it out that I do, in fact, do not have a crush on him, I've become less, I guess, nervous around them, and because of that I tend to be more oblivious or just more straight up with dudes. I feel like depending on the guy, some guys are really creepy and really weird, and they are just like, whatever, if she's a girl, I talk to her, which is stupid. And that's the same with like online dating apps, because I have a few profiles on a few apps, and one of the things that I struggle with all the time is men liking me on those apps, even though I have written everywhere on those apps that I'm a lesbian, I'm into women, and I don't like men. Maybe not as obvious as that, but you know, on Hinge it gives you an idea, gives you an option to write as one of your introductory things, like it has your age, your height, your star sign. One of them is also like your sexuality, and to that I have that set to lesbian. And the amount of guys that like me on that, I'm like, what? Is my Hinge rigged? I've set it to only showing me women. Why am I seeing dudes, and why are dudes liking me? Then I realized that obviously if they have their set to women as well, mine would automatically be there for them to look at. But at the same time, I'm like, Hinge, dude, shouldn't you figure this out? Because if mine says lesbian, why am I showing up on guys' Hinge thingies? Why? Whatever, that's a problem for later. But because of that, I find myself always thinking that, do guys not read? Because it says it so clearly on my profile that I am in fact a lesbian. Where is the confusion? So I was talking to one of my colleagues that I work with, and he flat out said to me that guys don't read. if they're on a dating profile, they'll see your pictures. If they think that you're pretty, they will swipe or send you a love heart or whatever. They'll do that to you regardless because they don't look further than your photos. But yes, that is an element I really strongly dislike about being a straight passing lesbian, because I think men should just read a bit more, right? Or I've never had this scenario happen to me. I've never had anyone like ask me out in real life ever. So I've never had this, but I've seen cases of where people say that a guy comes up to them and then they're like, oh, I'm actually a lesbian. And then the guy's like, oh, don't worry, I can change you. Like, what the hell? What do you mean change them? What's there to change? Back off, man. What? Whatever. That's an element that I find very annoying about being straight passing lesbian. And it's not to say that maybe it doesn't happen to more masculine or tomboyish presenting lesbians. Maybe it does. But I feel like it will happen more to straight passing femme lesbians. But yes. Now, of course, I don't want to be mean to all men. I think men are great. I have nothing against men. I just wish that men would read my profile a little bit more and maybe not send me that love heart on Hinge. Please. Thank you. Greatly appreciated. But yes, that's all I wanted to talk about for this week's video because, you know, it was something that I thought of and I was like, clearly I'm not the only femme presenting lesbian in the world, and because of that I'm probably not the only lesbian who has been mistaken for straight. So that's why I wanted to talk about it, because if you're anything like me and you're also femme presenting and maybe straight passing, then I want you to let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with the things that I have said? Have you experienced anything that I maybe have not mentioned in this video? And if that's the case, please leave me a comment down below. I love reading them. Also, you might have noticed that I kind of have a tattoo now. And I got this tattoo done like what, in November? It's been a while. It's been a while. But I guess in some of my other videos, maybe that it's not as noticeable. Anyways, besides the point, I got the tattoo done in like November. It is a matching tattoo with my mum and my younger brother, and everything happens for a reason in Sanskrit, because it's something that my mum says to me and us all the time, so we thought it was only really fitting. And yeah, to directly translate, it says Sarvasyapi Bhavadetu, which means everything happens for a reason in Sanskrit. And I think it's really cute, and the three of us have it. And yeah, in case you were wondering what that says, that's what that is. And it's my first tattoo, maybe not my only tattoo. I don't know, maybe I'll get more in the future, but as of now, this is my first and only tattoo that I have. Would I recommend tattoos? Yes. I think if you have your mind set on getting a tattoo, get that tattoo, because I was very nervous and hesitant before getting it done. Once I saw like my mom and my brother getting it done, I got super excited. Then when I was actually laying there, my tattoo artist, she was super sweet, so she made us feel really comfortable, and she, you know, was talking to us the whole time. We were having a great conversation the whole time. But that being said, there was literally no pain. It kind of just felt a bit like a cat scratch. So if you have a cat, you'll understand what I mean by that. It just felt like a scratch, but it really didn't hurt. And in terms of healing, it healed up really well, and I didn't feel any crazy itchiness either. So yeah, if you're worried about a tattoo hurting, it doesn't hurt. At least I didn't think so. It's cute, isn't it? You don't have to agree. I think it's cute. Anyways, that's definitely it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like this video and give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel, because I'll be uploading videos more like this in the future. Also, let me know in the comments down below if there are any other topics that you'd like me to talk about, because I always love ideas and it always helps. You know, if you have something that you want me to discuss, please leave it and I'll get around to it at some point. But yeah, that's it for this week's video. I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.